Greetings ladies and gentlemen, this is Kazu here, and today I have a video on how to use LEGO for D&D and really enhance the tabletop role-playing experience of such games like D&D 5th edition. If you don't know already, there is a LEGO Ideas 50 Years of Dungeons & Dragons challenge event, and this is going to be asking us fans to produce our own LEGO sets, submit these builds in the contest, and the winner, which is going to be decided on December 19th, the challenge ends on Monday, November 14th, the winner is going to actually have their set turned into an official D&D LEGO set. So for those of you who are fans of LEGO and want to get into D&D, this is going to be a great entry point. And if you are an existing fan of D&D and want to get into LEGO, this is also going to be a great entry point. Now, if we look on the LEGO Ideas page, I'll leave a link in the description below. You can see there's already 471 results posted. These are all fan submissions and builds. A lot of interesting like creature, structure, minifig builds. Jaskier has a great one here. Gimme Builds has just an awesome little display, or it's quite big display actually for D&D. We have tons of interesting things like functional mimic chess, a magic portal diorama, map of the Sword Coast. Like, all of these builds are exciting, interesting. I'm gonna be happy whoever's gonna be the winner. I did submit my own idea that hopefully is gonna get some attention from the judges, but we'll see. I will be going over that later in this video as well. And yeah, Lego's a perfect tool for D&D because it's modular, it's customizable. It is going to be on the pricey side, and we'll go over the pros and cons a bit later. But if you are an existing fan of Lego or are willing to start a Lego collection and get into the hobby, this is just going to be an excellent way to make use of your Lego and actually use it on the tabletop. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into Lego D&D, the tabletop experience. So here is my D&D 50th anniversary Lego collab challenge entry that you can see here. We have our modular build, we have terrain pieces, we have minifigs, and we have creatures, all of which I've designed myself and I actually use for D&D. So this is going to be a build idea submitted by a D&D player for other D&D players. The intent is that you can use these creatures and minifigs as display pieces. Like, as you see here, they're really varied so that you can have all sorts of different interesting display pieces, but also you can use them for Dungeons & Dragons itself and have that tabletop experience that a lot of people really love, especially when it comes to combat. But you can do that for even other things like exploration and social interaction as well. I'm going to throw up some actual like HD pictures so you guys can have a better idea of the set. I wasn't able to upload photos of the modular build because for some reason LEGO Ideas was saying they were too dark or too bright. So I'm not sure why I wasn't able to upload the rest of the photos. You're just going to have to bear with 2 images for my actual challenge entry, but I am going to show you guys the whole thing. Alright, so here is some video footage of the actual set build. The minifigs are going to be different from what they were in the challenge entry because I did modify them here and there. Some of these minifigs are actually used by my player characters, so they have different equipment, different classes, whatnot. And then we also can see the terrain and some of the enemy creatures that you'll encounter in your adventure: the goblins, the spider, the manticore, which has a flying stand, as well as our white dragon, which also has a flying stand. Both of these creatures can fly, so they should have flying stands that can kind of show how they have air superiority. Your characters are going to have to find ways to deal with the flying creatures. And then of course on the sides we have the other terrain elements that can be used to make this build modular. So if you take apart the tile base plates, you can rearrange them however you want and then form your own dungeons that your adventurers can go ahead and actually use on the tabletop, especially for battles. This is going to be really great. You can see here we customize it however we want and use that modularity to our advantage with Lego. So this is not part of the challenge entry, but this is a dice tower that I made out of Lego, and you can really easily just roll dice by putting it at the top, letting it roll down like that. You could also roll it the traditional way in your hand. And then we also have this kind of like velvet fabric at the bottom to protect the wood tiles that I had at the bottom. Those were getting scratched up by like sharp edge and metal dice, so I decided to put a thick fabric above it to keep them protected. When it comes to the rest of the modular build itself, you can see we have 4x4 tiles with the one stud jumper plates in the middle, and that's going to let us really easily move around our terrain and our minifigs and all sorts of things like that. Each 4 studs is going to be 5 feet of in-game distance for the purposes of playing D&D, and the tile base plates are going to be connected by pin connectors, 2x1 pin connectors. You can use either the half size or the full size 2x1 pin connectors. It works great for my actual games. You can set up dungeons really quickly and easily, and then you can fill them with interesting things, and the players are going to be excited. They're going to be very easily able to keep track of who's where and who's doing what, and it just makes combat a much more pleasurable experience, especially for people who aren't into crunching the numbers. Alright, so now I'm going to be showing you the separated base plates. This is what the actual full build, looks like when it's taken apart. We have the doors and the walls, as well as the, the staircase and the prison piece I was talking about earlier. This is like a sewer grate wall. That was kind of fun to make. We have 3 doors, and then we have 2 windows. So you could make like a full house if you wanted to. This is a 2x2 square base plate, and it has the half pin connectors I was talking about. These mount onto another like really easily, and they're not going to get stuck in the other base plate, which is what you'll notice happening if you use the full length 2x2 connectors or 2x1 connectors. So that's pretty easily arranged. This is a full 2x1 connector. You're going to have more stable connections between the base plates if you use these, but they also pop out like really easily, so it's kind of irritating to deal with. But either one works, and this is a pretty robust and reliable system for, making dungeons. If you want to get it in these colors and with, this sort of bumper plate with tiles, that is going to be a little bit more on the pricey side. You'll have to order the parts through Bricklink for now, unless we can get an actual set from the LEGO Ideas D&D contest to have a modular dungeon build, which it's possible because I've seen a lot of entries that are modular builds, but it's more than likely it's going to be probably a display piece. Either way, I'll be happy. If I can get like a good creature and some good minis out of it, I'll definitely be happy, and I will continue using my sort of dungeon style system. So yeah, I hope you guys like this, and if you find inspiration, feel free to make this and use it on your own for D&D or other tabletop RPGs. Okay, so let's go over the pros and cons of using LEGO for D&D. So one of the obvious pros that I discussed earlier was that you have a visual representation of the environment, the characters, the enemies that they're going to fight, the terrain around them. You're going to have a very accurate and visual representation of what's going on, and that's going to keep players heavily engaged, especially when it comes to combat, which is sometimes where people tend to go on their phones when it's not their turn, stuff like that. People are going to be a lot more excited when they can see directly what it is they're going to be fighting. They can strategize on where they're going to be positioned, what they're going to do, where they're going to hide behind, who they're going to flank. Stuff like that is a big deal. When it comes to the cons of using LEGO for D&D, it really comes down to the price point. LEGO is pretty expensive at about 10 cents per piece on average. And if you're looking at a LEGO set, that's going to be roughly 2,000 to 3,000 pieces. The set build that I showed for the challenge entry is going to be around 2,300 pieces. That probably would end up being, somewhere between $150 and $250 for that LEGO set, which is going to be on the pricier side. Getting into LEGO, if you're not a fan of LEGO already, means you're going to have to put down quite a lot of money in terms of investing in a basic collection, getting minifigs, getting bricks, getting lots of pieces so that you can actually build and make a lot of your own things. I am going to make a video later discussing what sets you should get if you want to expand and work on fantasy for the purposes of TTRPGs and LEGO D&D. Harry Potter and Ninjago, for example, do have some pretty cool creatures and other sorts of like structures and builds and minifigs that you could make use of for LEGO D&D. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Check out, the modular terrain here, and if you guys are interested in the LEGO Ideas Challenge, do be sure to check in on that. They're going to be doing a crowd vote early December, between the 1st and the 19th. So do check that out. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. I am still going to be working on video game videos, which is primarily what is this channel, but also I want to really get into Dungeons & Dragons videos. I've been a DM for about 2 years playing D&D, but I'm playing D&D and practicing and studying and preparing for it non-stop, almost like every other day. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about and share some D&D content with you guys, and I cannot wait to make more videos for you on this topic. So again, thank you for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.